Are you
Decide.
I don't know how to start this video other than to say that Grounded is really good, and you guys should definitely play it. What started as an idea made by a small team of 13 developers at Obsidian spun into one of the best survival games you can play today, being put on the mantle next to the likes of Ark Survival Evolved and Subnautica, but also having enough unique ideas to be able to stand on its own 2 feet. As I'm recording this video, Grounded has surpassed 25 million players across all platforms. So this isn't exactly some niche game I'm talking about. But at the same time, I still feel like more people should check this game out. And who better than a YouTuber who has 26 subscribers to tell you why? So let's begin with this. Grounded started as a small passion project at Obsidian Entertainment, the studio that made games such as The Outer Worlds, Pentiment, and Fallout New Vegas. From a team of just 13 people, it was released in early access on July 28, 2020, on Xbox and PC in a pretty barren state. But the early access launch was what the team wanted to do, because they wanted to develop the game alongside the players so that they could improve what wasn't working and add what could improve the experience. And 2 years later, on September 27th, 2022, the game launched out of early access and into a version 1.0 release. The team would still work on updates, but the game was basically complete, where you can play it from start to end. And it wasn't until another 2 years after 1.0 launch, on April 16th, 2024, the team put out the final update, version 1.4, or the Fully Yoked Edition. And with this update, Obsidian brought the game to other platforms, PlayStation 4 and 5 and Nintendo Switch, and also partnered up with Limited Run Games to do a physical release, which I have right here. It even has an animated series in the works, but we haven't heard anything about it since its announcement, so it might be in production purgatory. But regardless, it's pretty safe to say that Grounded has been a success for Obsidian, and also the corporate Xbox overlords. And so, when they announced in the Xbox Summer Showcase of 2025 that they would be making a sequel, a part of me wasn't surprised, while the other part of me was screaming with indescribable joy and excitement.
You can't run from me, you foul beast! You think you outsmarted me, the mighty Muldoon? I don't think so, Yoked.
Stay tuned for what happens next on Yoked Girth. Now a word from our sponsor.
Kids, are you ready for a new wild and wacky Punch-O fruit flavor? Introducing Apricot. It's a punch to the gut. So stop by, fill up, and make sure you get your Billy Hog hot dog before you jet away.
Good morning, Brook Hollow. Today is October 20.
Okay, so now let's talk about the game itself. So the game begins with a news report talking about how 4 teenagers have gone missing in the area. The year is 1990, and you play as one of 4 teenagers: Max, Pete, Willow, and Hoops. You get dropped in the middle of somebody's backyard, and all you know is you've been shrunk down to the size of an ant, so you and your friends, if you're playing multiplayer, have to craft resources, harness weapons, and survive the dangers of the backyard. Now, as I said, Grounded is a survival game, so typically you'd have both a creative mode titled The Playgrounds and a survival mode, which is the campaign. But what sets Grounded apart from other survival games is not only the setting and environment, but also the fact that Grounded doesn't just play like a survival game, but it also has mechanics and the somewhat feel of a Bethesda RPG, which makes sense since this is the studio that made Fallout New Vegas. Okay, back to the beginning of the game. Once exploring the surrounding area, you then find a platform with 3 devices on tripods aiming down at the platform. You then find a cassette tape, and after picking it up, you learn about someone else, presumably the owner of the house whose backyard you're standing in.
I
was a fool to have ever doubted myself. A fool like Klein, like Kaminsky, like Schmechter, like all of Ominent. I am here in the backyard. Down in the backyard. I mean, I am speaking to you from the backyard. I am tiny! I should gather my thoughts. This is a momentous occasion. Wendell Tolley official log 89.08.05. Recording as I take my first steps into the miniature world. The sights are unbelievable. The textures, the way the light falls upon every surface, the subtle patterns in all of the objects that surround me, the grass. Even common lawn grass looks like a structure from an alien world. Wait, what's that sound? The very earth is trembling. Over there, what could it be? An ant! My God, today, the world has changed forever.
This is Dr. Wendell Tolley, someone who, like you, also got shrunk down. And so, with you on the platform, you see a big button and press it, but the only thing that happens is the equipment on the tripod starts emitting lasers, but one laser is blocked by a blade of grass, and another looks like it's malfunctioning. So, as you go to correct these problems and get all machines working again, you hit the button, and then...
My bad?
Yeah, you're definitely not getting home this soon. But this machine triggered an explosion over at the big oak tree, so heading over there is your next objective. Once you get there, after avoiding a den of wolf spiders at the base of the tree, you find an entrance to what looks like a laboratory at the source of the explosion. And inside, you find something tipped over, and by standing it back up, you meet...
System reboot in progress. Thanks for the helping hand. I am Burgle, acting science manager for this project. I am also a robot. I am sure this all must be very disorienting for you, but hopefully I can explain.
This is Burgle, a cooking robot who is an assistant to Dr. Tolley, and after interacting with him, you get some more answers on what's going on here. You learn that you have slight memory loss. As to why you're here is still unknown, but this house does belong to Dr. Tolley. As to where he is also unknown, as he's apparently been off-grid for several weeks. Burgle tells you that his memory drives have been damaged, so you need to help him out by finding memory chips. There are two types of memory chips. Auxiliary chips, which can give you recipes for weapons, armor, and other things, and super chips. These should give Burgle more information on how to operate the machine in the backyard titled the Spacer so you can get home. Alright. That's all the story I'm going to be talking about in this video. If you want to know more, go play the game yourselves. Okay, now that I've got the early story out of the way, now I want to talk about the gameplay and mechanics of Grounded. So, the backyard of Grounded, it's huge. It's a big open world to explore with interesting biomes, with tons of stuff to find, and huge insects to conquer. I've spent hours upon hours, literally over 100, exploring the backyard, and I still can't get enough. Anyway, so the reason I say this game feels like a Bethesda RPG is because the weapons and combat feel straight out of Elder Scrolls. From the types of weapons, to the parrying, to each use of your weapon requiring stamina, it all reminds me of something out of Oblivion or Skyrim, and I love it. Another thing I love is the leveling system for different things in the game. Like, for weapons and armor, you have the smithing station, where you can find resources to make your armor more durable and can give your armor a wide variety of effects, depending on what resources you use to upgrade them. Let me explain. So, to upgrade a weapon, you need quartzite, and to upgrade your armor, you need marble. There are 3 types each: brittle, sturdy, and supreme. The quartzite can be made to make whetstone, and the marble can be used to make plating. Later on, if you find the recipe, you can make these things called globs and jewels. These can upgrade your weapons further, but there's multiple routes you can upgrade your weapons, because if you use globs and jewels just made from whetstone, you go down what's called the mighty route, which boosts your weapon's strength. But let's say you decide to use a mint glob made from mint shards. Then you go down the fresh route, and your weapon now deals more damage to insects that are weakened to fresh. Or let's say you want to go down the sour route, which deals more damage to enemies weakened to sour attacks. The choice is up to you. Your weapons can have a wide variety of effects. And this game even has its own version of potions from Minecraft. They're called smoothies, and yeah, they give you resistance to heat or poison or give you extra stamina. Same with another mechanic called mutations, equipable perks that have a wide variety of effects. A couple of examples is if you eat a bunch of mint shards, you get the fresh defense mutation that gives you heat defense. There's also mutations that make any type of ant not think of you as an enemy, provided that you befriend the ant queens. There's even mutations that give you extra stamina and health, make you run faster, and can carry more stacks of resources at the same time. You can do a lot of things with them. It's really cool. And then the last leveling system in the game is the way to level up your character itself. The way you do that is by finding these tooth-shaped multivitamins called milk molars. They're scattered all throughout the map, and there's 2 types, regular milk molars and golden ones called mega milk molars. Mega Milk Molars is a shared leveling system that's shared between you and your friends. It's mostly for leveling how many arrows you can carry in your quiver, or how many resources you can carry all at once without mutations, of course. But the regular molars, they can upgrade your health, your stamina, and even strengthen your duration of when you need to eat and drink. And so, when you mix all these things together with you having a fortified base that can help your every need, you start to feel like you can take on anything that comes your way in the backyard. You actually feel like you are. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about the different areas of the backyard, because each area feels different in their own way. You could climb the branches of the spider-infested hedge, or trudge through the sizzling sandbox with ferocious antlions, or maybe strap on a gas mask and make your way through the hazelands with poisonous bug killers spraying throughout the air. Or maybe you can be tough enough to brave through the dangers of the upper yard filled with ferocious fire ants, wasps, and black ox beetles. It's all really unique and a very good challenge at sometimes, especially the bosses. Oh yeah, there's bosses in this game, and how you tackle them is interesting also, cause you can take them on as many times as you want, you just have to lure them out. And to do that, you need to acquire boss recipes. Bait that lures the bosses out of sleep and into battle. Now, I don't want to spoil too much, so I'll only talk about one boss in this video, and it's one that a lot of you might know, which is the Mantis. And yeah, it's definitely one of the harder bosses. But taking them down, you can even make weapons and armor from the bosses, mostly the optional ones. Like with the Mantis, you can make a giant scythe and what's called the assassin armor, so it's pretty cool. And speaking of insects, there's even a bestiary in this game. So this game has a mechanic where if you press a button, your character puts their hands to their eyes as binoculars. This is called the peeper system, where if you look around in this mode and if you see an insect, you can peep it, and you can add that insect card to your bestiary. And depending on a chance if you've harvested enough of their remains, you can even get a gold peeper card. But it's pretty tricky to get a gold card, cause just peeping a regular insect, you'll have about a 10% chance of getting a gold card. But with bosses, your chances are even slimmer with a 1% chance. So if you want to get every gold card in the game, which is not a necessity I should say, then you'll have to kill the same bug over and over again and to keep dissecting them until you get the card. But thankfully, it's not a necessity even towards 100% completion. Base building is also a huge part in Grounded, as it is in most survival games. And people have come up with some really cool ideas that just express creativity. My base is an idea that I'm sure people have come up with before. It's a soda can at the foot of the giant oak tree with grass walls surrounding the can, so that way I can keep all my important stuff in the can, and I can build on stuff on top of the can like a zip line. Which, let me talk about this for a second. The fastest way to get around the yard is by building zip lines and connecting them with spider thread, which will become even more convenient because if you defeat a certain boss in the game, that'll grant you access to the upgraded zipline that will allow you to zipline uphill. But anyway, back to base building. Another thing you can do is all the things to put in your base, like furniture or things to cook food with, or boss recipes. There's even an anvil, like I said, for upgrading your weapons and armor. It's really up to you on how you want to customize your base. You can make it a fortified structure or a cozy abode. Okay, now there's one more game mechanic I want to talk about, and that's the tier system. The game ranks weapons, tools, insects, and some material that needs an axe or a hammer to be harvested with a tier system, with 1 being the weakest and 3 being the strongest. And some insects have stronger variants, like the wolf spider for example, it's a tier 2 insect. So pretty tough to take down, but probably easier than taking down the tier 3 equivalent, the black widow. Super fast and super vicious. Or how about the red worker ant, as a tier 1 docile unless threatened insect, but being less stronger than the tier 2 black ant or even the tier 3 fire ant. It's all from this system that categorizes almost everything in the game. Grounded is something that you can just tell that it was made by people who had an undying passion for video games. And I just want to make sure that people are aware of this game because it's really something special. Grounded means a lot to me, and my hope from you watching this video is piquing your curiosity enough to try the game out for yourself. Whether it be the first game or the newly released sequel, I strongly recommend you dive into this tiny adventure. That's all from me, and I will catch you on the flip side.